My first business, I didn't actually start it. He proposed to me. I said yes to the business.
Oh, wow. Wow,
Um,
that's amazing.
I had already gotten used to the freedom. I had already gotten used to the lifestyle. This was the defining moment for me. When I asked him if I could reduce my days so that I could go to college, he told me no. And I'm not really used to people telling me no. And it was in that moment that I would really say I became a proper focused entrepreneur.
Thank you so much for joining me today on Successfully Black. So if you can just introduce yourself to our viewers and let them know what it is that you do.
Hi Raquel, thank you so much for having me on your platform. I'm Claudine Reid. I am a multi-award winning social entrepreneur. I'm also a business psychologist and a former Cabinet Office social enterprise ambassador.
So when you started your career journey, because there are a lot of different little things that you are involved in, what was your first business and how did you start your business?
This interesting story, Raquel. My first business, I didn't actually start it. I was working for an I was studying in Europe. And when I came back from studying in Europe, I remember having a conversation with one of my friends and asked him to find me a job because I'd been away, and as part of my degree, I had to work for a year. So he found me a job working with his brother. I was working with his brother who had just started a business. It was probably no more than 3 years old. And halfway through my time at working in the business, his brother said to me, he doesn't want me to leave. Of course, I've got to go back and finish my university degree. He doesn't want me to leave because I've been so great in the business. So he said, he proposed to me, Raquel. He proposed to me. I said yes. We got married. And that was my start into the business.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's amazing.
I had always wanted to run a business. I wanted to be a business studies teacher.
Okay.
So halfway through that journey, I kind of had a bit of an identity crisis and had a big, massive meltdown. Like, I'm only here because of you, right? That's it. I'm leaving. I'm going to go be a teacher. So I went off to pursue my interest. And it was in that 12-month period that I left to pursue my interest of wanting to be a teacher that I realized actually I don't want to be a teacher because I had already gotten used to the freedom. I had already gotten used to the lifestyle that running my business, the privilege that it had afforded me. So I remember going to the head teacher of the school that I was working at. I wanted to go and upgrade my qualifications. And this was the defining moment for me. When I asked him if I could reduce my days so that I could go to college, he told me no. Now, remember, I've been running a business for 3, 4, 5 years by that time. And I'm not really used to people telling me no, especially as it relates to my personal development. I understand no if it's stuff that doesn't concern me, but not when my personal development was concerned. And so in that moment, I left. I said to him, okay, today is my last day. And I went back to my business, but I went back with a different mindset, I was a different person. My staff were like, whoa, what's happened to you? But I realized working in the school toughened me up, helped me to become a better version of myself. And it was in that moment that I would really say I became a proper focused entrepreneur.
There's a lot of people that will be watching who at the moment they're in different places and scenarios in their career. And one of the things that even for myself I've experienced, and I know other people experience, is taking that leap when you know something isn't for you and actually saying, do you know what, I wash my hands of this and I'm going to just go and try something else or go back to what I'm doing. What happens in the psyche for you, or what, from what you can remember, what has to happen for you to be able to take that leap of faith? And what should people be thinking and considering when they're making that change or decision to just say, you know what, I can't grow here, I'm just going to leave, even if they don't have something to go to?
Wow. I think that's an amazing question. And I think there's a number of components that you have to think of, because we're not living in isolation to the wider world or to the bigger picture. And for many people, I'm sure they have financial responsibilities, obligations that they have to meet. Yeah. So you've got to kind of make a measured response. So a couple of the things that really drove me were my personal values. I loved working in the school. I absolutely loved it. I was working with a group of boys who were in year 9. They challenged me. They challenged my thinking. They challenged my understanding about life. So for as much as I was happy, I wasn't fulfilled.
Right. Yeah.
So it was easy for me to have that inner conversation with myself and say, I like it here, but I think I could do so much more in a different space. Of course, I'm working in the school and I've got to work within the parameters of the education system. But I think in that moment, I realized that those boys that I was assigned to work with needed more. They were on the verge of exclusion. So I could make a decision, even though I'm happy, do I feel that I have the capacity to do more in a different environment? An understanding of who you are and what you carry. What do you think you're able to contribute? And I think that leans in very much to your value system, to your purpose, and to your personal goals. Do you have the ability to meet those things, that criteria, your goals, your values, in a different space, and not forgetting the fact that you still may have dependents. You may have parents who are dependent on you. You may have children
Absolutely.
or a partner who's depending on you. So it has to be a measured approach to progress.
And with that, with you saying about values, principles, morals, these are some integral components to help someone to grow in their business and in their career. What would you say are some of your business morals that has enabled you to carry your business and actually just transform it into the successful business that it is?
I think they change over time, right? My values are constant, but I think the thing that drives me to meet my values. So when I first started, so I would say when I left the school to actually go back to my business is when I really became, I was a different person. I was not the same. I honestly wasn't. I just became just a different outlook on life and on business. And I think some of those values or drivers was the ability to make a courageous decision, right? And sometimes the courageous decision goes against the grain. It's the thing that you are now the minority. You have this great idea, but the majority is not necessarily standing with you. But you can see this thing. Can you make it work? Do you have the inner strength to decide, actually, I am going to do this? I think discipline is a key component for anything. Discipline and perseverance. You got to be driven by something intrinsic. Motivation is good, but I believe that motivation is an external factor. What happens if the motivators aren't there? What happens if you wake up in the morning and you look out? If you live in the UK, the skies are grey. Irrespective of what's happening in the external environment, I am going to make this happen. As I grew my business and I saw my my payroll increasing, right? I mean, it's a little bit of a double-edged sword. I'm paying out all this money. But there's also this sense of fulfillment that I'm impacting households. I'm contributing on a different level to the community. When I saw that, I realized that I could walk into central government and have conversations and advise them. I became one of the Cabinet Office Social Enterprise Ambassadors, and I also used to advise the Secretary of State on how to support people in running their business. But because I did it from a place of empowerment, yes, the money was okay, but the money wasn't the driver. If the money was the driver, then when you reach a certain milestone, you'll think, right, great, I've made 100K, I've made 1 million. You'd say that's it, but that's not the driver. The money shows you that actually it's just a measure of your success, but that is not, to me, success in and of itself. So let me be clear. Business hasn't been plain sailing, right? There were some low moments. There were some low days, some low months, times when we, weren't successful in applying for a contract or, having that conversation with the bank manager and you're thinking, oh my God, what on earth is he going to say? But the driving force was knowing that the thing that's driving me was about empowering other people
This is so rich, and this is just phenomenal. And even in my mind, I'm like taking notes. I can't do it on camera, but I'm taking notes mentally. There's a couple of things that you've mentioned, which has kind of brought two sort of questions into my head. And one is, you've spoken about, I guess, the selflessness in what you've been doing, which has enabled you to propel, and it's given you fulfillment. There's a lot of people where their industry or their business might be, I guess, from a selfish aspect. It's more about them and putting themselves on the platform, as opposed to it being selfless and they're helping others to grow their business. Has there ever been a point where you've had to make that change and sort of say to yourself, okay, I'm going to change my focus on helping people to do what I do, as opposed to making it about me? And if so, how did you navigate and how did you change that?
At heart, our business model is a social enterprise. And social enterprise, the model that we've chosen, speaks of two things. It speaks of people and profit. So I believe that I've gone into business having a balanced approach. I think that I can only help myself if I help others. So if I'm only thinking of helping myself, then again, when I've arrived at a certain place, who cares about everybody else? That doesn't speak to me. That doesn't speak to my value system. I don't think that's integrity. But if you are ever going to achieve any modicum of success, success is a team sport. At no stage in my business can I recall the focus being solely about me. And let me tell you, there have been occasions where I've had people on my payroll who are earning more money than me.
Wow.
And I think that to me, that speaks, that to me is the barometer. Am I the director of the company who is happy enough to see the value that people are bringing to my business and reward them accordingly for it?
That's
I don't have a problem, because there are other things that I'm interested in. And I don't only have one source of income. That's the other thing.
Let's actually touch on that, because that's really interesting and intriguing. So when did you make that decision to start paying yourself, knowing that you've got to reinvest in your business if you want to see your business flourish?
That's an amazing question. Very complex. Because it kind of goes against the grain that many lessons that people may have heard about paying yourself first. I want to come back to that whole concept about paying yourself first. But your business has to be able to sustain your salary, your income, the amount of money that you want. So one of the things that I generally advise to some of my mentees, even, especially if they are working a full-time job, so they're working a 9 to 5 and they want to make that transition. Don't make that transition until the business can pay you and pay all of its overheads. Now, for some, that could be a 6-month process. For others, it could be a 12-month process. For others, it could be a 24-month process. But you've got to be able to weigh up, how much money do I need? Can the business pay you? You'll know that from looking at the numbers. You'll know if you're bringing in, £2,000 a month and you want to be earning, £3,000 a month, then obviously the business can't pay you. But there could be other things that you could do to help generate revenue. So maybe you could still be the brains behind the business. You could still be having revenue income coming in from other sources, but you might just need to pay an administration support to do some of those mundane things. So you are really just putting your brain power into the growth or the development of your business. There's a sort of thought that says pay yourself first. Pay yourself first actually refers to the money that you receive, not the money necessarily from that your business makes, the money that you receive personally from your business. Pay yourself first out of that pot, not out of your business, because you could be taking money out of your business and in 6 months' time you have nothing because you want to look the part, right? I know of people who've gone out, they've hired offices, they've got the top of the range, everything. And within 12 months, their business is gone because they didn't make the sensible decision. You don't actually need an office space straight away. When our company started, before I came along, Patrick was running the business in his front room. that's it. We stayed there until we got our first contract. Until our first contract said, we'll come to your office and meet you. Like, no. don't. We'll come to you. But it was at that moment we were starting to, that was our first contract with local government. And we realised, okay, we need to step this game up now. Like, we can't do business with a bed over there and the sofa over there.
Brilliant.
There's this thing that says delayed gratification, right? You don't have to show everybody everything right now. And I guess social media kind of forces you to want people to see, I've got a new car, look, I've got a new house, look at my new office, I've got top of the range stuff. But that could be a sure way to strangle your business.